Hello, my name is Gerard Creces and I'm seeking the NDP nomination in Huron-Bruce to run in the October federal election. Now we're taking a trip back in time today because Canada, we've never had the greatest environmental record, but what little safeguards we did have been gutted or destroyed by the Harper government, particularly in the year 2012. That was the year the environment died in Parliament. It was the year the Canada Revenue Agency began its auditing charities to make sure they spent no more than 10% of their funds on environmental or political activities rather. But we know what happened next. A hugely disproportionate number of environmental groups were subject to CRA audits, having to turn over records, emails, financial statements, just to appease the Harper government. And these charities, they weren't directly shut down, but they're being bled of their funding because some of these audits have been going on for years. And a lot of these environmental audits were begun at the behest of or from complaints from, wait for it, oil companies. And Stephen Harper's been deregulating our environment for the sake of resource extraction. Now, the line was that if we could get rid of unnecessary red tape, we could kickstart the economy. But what about ecology? The environmental assessment process, which was put in place to ensure new development would not do irreparable damage to land, water, air, wildlife, it was dismantled under the Conservatives and supported fully by RMP. The Environmental Assessment Act of 2012, it speaks about consulting Aboriginals and the public at large on projects that could affect health, economy, ecology, heritage, archaeology, but it leaves it to the Minister of the Environment and their cabinet to decide if the end justifies the means. So in other words, none of that really matters. Now the Federal Fisheries Act, which was passed along the same time, focuses only on those fish that are part of commercial, recreational, or aboriginal fisheries. And as with the Environmental Assessment Act, the minister may require higher levels of protection, but it doesn't say they must. And as I talked about earlier, the Navigable Waters Act places federal protection only on bodies of water that have commercial shipping value. Before that, if you could paddle a canoe on it, it was federally protected. Now, Bill C-38, that was the budget bill in 2012. That was the death knell for many of Canada's environmental regulations. It was about 450 pages long, and very little of it had to do with the budget. And as the NDP's Peggy Nash stated at the passage of this bill in 2012, if the government's so confident about the measures it's implementing, why did it not promote them in their election campaign? How many oil spills or laid-off scientists or First Nations protests need to take place before Stephen Harper starts listening? Now I realize I'm preaching to the choir here, but these things need to be reiterated and shared with as many people as possible leading up to the election, and that's the part that we can play here. I want there to be something left of Canada by the time I reach retirement age, and I want protection put before profit for the generations to come after me. That's why I joined the NDP. They've got the best record and the best intentions on environmental issues, even more so than the Greens, who are actually quite conservative. Now, what sort of legacy is Stephen Harper leaving, and what sort of mess are we going to have to clean up? My name is Gerard Creces, and I'm seeking the NDP nomination in Huron-Bruce to run in the October federal election. Let's protect our environment from our government, and let's take the power back.